Right, welcome. 2019 is drawing to a close, and with it, I thought what I would do is bring you my top favourite films of this year. Some of them may surprise you, some of them you may not be so surprised by, I don't know. But I wanted to bring you what I thought was the highlights of the film industry this year, I guess. The best films, in no particular order, but just, the best movies that I thought were around anyway. So again, without further ado, this will be my top 10 movies of this year in no particular order. So again, don't worry, it's not in any particular order. But I would love to hear it as well, just from yourselves. What were your top 10 films of this year? Or just top 5? Would love to know. And if any of yours match up with mine. So let's go. Right, so if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you would have seen me talk about Alita Battle Angel. It was a great film, for me. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. I think Rosa Salazar outdid herself with the performance in this role. I think the motion capture work was staggering. I think they managed to capture a really good arc of Alita from innocence to battle-hardened innocence, because she still retained that sort of charm at the end of the film. I really enjoyed it. If you didn't get a chance to see it in the theatre, well, that's a shame, because I think that was probably the best place you could have seen this film. But you really should go out and buy it, because I don't think you'd be disappointed. It was a really good film. So, yeah, Alita Battle Angel is definitely on my top 10 list. I just think it was a very well-made film, and Robert Rodriguez deserves some accolades for that, without a shadow of a doubt. Although James Cameron was obviously integral to this film getting off the ground. It was most of his work. I think, it's often overlooked that Robert Rodriguez did a fantastic job in the directing chair. Right, one of the more recent films, and probably one which will surprise you, is Ford versus Ferrari, or Le Mans. This film, I absolutely love this film. I don't think they did anything wrong. Genuinely. This film was fantastic. And it's not even from just a perspective of a car enthusiast. If anyone's watched my channel for any length of time, you would have seen some of my cars on the channel. I really do love cars. But this hit it out of the park for many reasons. Matt Damon was staggering in this. And he's a good actor, but he needs to be directed appropriately. And in this, he was very good, obviously playing Shelby, the late great Shelby. And you've got Christian Bale, always throws himself into any role. And in this, I think he really shone through and gave it his best. It was genuinely some of his best work, especially some of his best method acting. He did a really good job. And this film has a lot. Again, we take the car stuff outside of this review and kind of recap on it. It has such heart from start to finish. You get thrown right into the mix, and you really get a feel for what these people are trying to do and what they're trying to achieve. And it does it so very well. The cinematography was great. What they did have for CG was fantastic, because of course they didn't actually build Ford GTs for this film. They didn't actually use them. They had mock-up cars which they were using in some CG work. It was very well done. It's a movie which, again, I feel would have been overlooked by most people, and I think you should go out and watch it. I think a lot of people wouldn't have seen it simply because it's all about cars, but that's doing a disservice to the film. It's definitely not just all about cars. Right, now, number 3, I guess, on this list, and again, in no particular order. I think this will surprise a lot of people, but I really enjoyed Jojo Rabbit. It's not what it was made out to be by multiple people. Obviously, we've got Taika Waititi. He's rubbed people up the wrong way many times. But I do feel that's just his shtick. He was not really front and center in this film. It's a very well-made film. Very well made. It's very comical. I had a blast with this. I watched it as part of some Jewish film festival thing in the UK. It was very good, actually. I really did enjoy this, and I think a lot of people wouldn't have seen this simply because of all of the total nonsense drama that was kind of sprung up surrounding it. It was funny. It was laugh out loud funny in moments. And I know a lot of people seem to be put off by the fact that they were making humor out of Nazis and Hitler. Well, look, at the end of the day, that's probably the best thing you possibly can do to, you know, these specific subsection of humanity. That's the last thing that they would ever want you to do. So it's probably the first thing that you should do is make them a big joke. So I really enjoyed this film, and again, I do feel like a lot of people would have overlooked it. So go out and watch it. It was good. It had a lot of heart, and actually Scarlett Johansson was very good in it, and that's coming from someone that I'm not really enamored by Scarlett Johansson at all, but she was actually very, very good in this film. Right, of course, we have to talk about Joker. What a good film! I loved it. I absolutely loved it. This is the only film this year that I've gone to the theatre to watch twice. I don't do that with any film, really. Normally I'll watch it in theatres and then I'll wait for it to come out on Blu-ray or download, and I'll just watch it like that. But I like this film so much, and I wanted to see it on the big screen as it was intended, with the sound design, because I think a lot of people... the cinematography was fantastic and the acting was absolutely great, but the sound design was also one of those staggering achievements for this film, and I really wanted to experience that again. Because there's subtle cues and things like that with the sound, which I feel on second viewing you really do appreciate a lot more. Now again, you know, it's one of those films which is kind of like a no-brainer. It was obviously going to be on this list. It was such a good film, and it was a massive two fingers up to all of the mainstream media outlets that were trying to poo-poo this film, get it banned, get it cancelled, and just build up this nonsensical drama surrounding the production of this film. I'm so glad this film has come out and done so well, because there were some rumours that it wasn't going to do well, there was leaks, there was whole nonsense things with Warner Brothers and things like that. But this is a fantastic film. It should get an Oscar. I genuinely firmly believe that it should. I don't know if it will, but I think it will get nominated. So it has to be on this list for very, very obvious reasons. Now, I don't think a lot of people would have liked this film as much as me, but I really enjoyed Rambo Last Blood. It was everything that I wanted it to be. It was just out and out, kind of macho, masculine. That was all it was for me. I enjoyed this film. It did everything that I wanted it to do, and I was very, very pleased with it. A lot of people seem to have made some complaints about the runtime, and it was too short, and it sort of a bit slow at the start, and then just goes, you know, ball to the wall, and then that's it. But I really enjoyed this film. I think it had a lot of charm. I think if this was to be the last Rambo film, because of course there are discussions about another one, I think this would have made a good end. I think the end to Rambo deserved some heart, and built to a big crescendo. So I really enjoyed this film. I think it got an unfair amount of flack by very, very strange, nonsensical kind of politics with respect to you know, how you represent certain cultures and things like that. I'm of the firm belief that, you know, Mexican cartels probably shouldn't be portrayed as nice people, but hey, that's just me. I really enjoyed this film, and I think you will too if you haven't seen it, so go out and watch it. Stallone was really good in this, genuinely really good, so it has to be on my top 10 list of films for this year. And of course, John Wick. Oh, Mr. Wick, are you back? John Wick was definitely back with a bang this year with John Wick 3, and we still haven't heard about John Wick 4 for some bizarre, unknown, strange reason. We've heard some rumours and rumblings instantly when this film was released, and it's all gone quiet. We do know that there's going to be a film called The Ballerina, which is a John Wick spin-off movie, but John Wick Chapter 4, it's not underway yet, sadly, and we do know that Keanu Reeves is back for The Matrix, so not overly sure what's going to happen. But to get back to John Wick 3, because of course you're probably wondering why I'm spouting all that nonsense, I'm doing that because I really liked this film. As a 3-movie arc, I think they stand up very, very well together. I wasn't overly enamoured with the second film. I liked it, but I wasn't overly enamoured with it. However, when, you know, actually strung together as a 3-movie arc, I think it works very, very well. And I can see why they did it now. And I have much more appreciation for the second film off the back of the third. It was very, very good. I'm all about the, you know, Keanu Reeves-essence. And yeah, I'd be surprised if any of you haven't watched it, and I'd be very surprised if you guys thought that this wasn't going to be on my top 10 list of movies for this year. But is it on yours? Again, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, so please do let me know down below in the comments. And yes, of course, it has to be on this list. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I know, a lot of you guys will be sick of me talking about Godzilla. But I really like this film. I had the opportunity through a friend to go to the UK premiere of this film. I wasn't invited at all. Although, side note, there's some very strange people that get invited to these events. It's almost as if the film studio don't actually care who watches their movie early anymore. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this film. I'm, again, directed by Michael Dougherty. Great guy, nice chap. I have actually met the guy. He's a nice dude. I really enjoyed this film. And again, it just delivered on everything that I wanted it to deliver on. I know a lot of people have issues with characters and way certain things are portrayed and all these kind of bits and pieces. But I personally just wanted a big, dumb monster action movie. And I got that. And I'm really, really pleased with it. And I just liked it from start to finish. It was good, just good monster fun. I did think that the effects were very, very good, although common complaint is that they mask it with, darkness and gritty atmosphere and things like this. But I do feel if you're dealing with something like, King Ghidorah, you do have to have an air of darkness to it because, of course, he's a villain. So you're not going to bathe him in sunlight, are you? So I don't know. I really enjoyed this film. I know, and I do see a lot of people's complaints with it, but for me, I really enjoyed it, and it does make me very excited about what is to come further down the line. And this will probably surprise a lot of people. Detective Pikachu. I really enjoyed this one, actually. I thought this movie would be terrible. Genuinely thought this movie would be terrible. But I really, really liked it. Out of all the films this year, yeah, I did enjoy this film quite a lot. Enough to be on the list, anyway. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was just some dumb Pokemon movie. I remember the old original anime series and things like that way, way, way back in the day. And I think this film managed to capture a lot of that initial heart and kind of earnest nature that was in the original anime. I really enjoyed this. I mean, it's Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds, so you either have to be on board with that or not. And if you're not, you won't like this film. It was definitely predictable, but I will say this, the effects were probably some of the best this year. The effects genuinely were some of the best this year. It was a blend, seamless blend, and they managed to capture realistic Pokemon far and above, I think, anyone ever thought they would be able to. So whatever you think of the actual film itself, I'm pretty certain most people would be able to agree that the realistic nature of the Pokemon and how they interacted with humans would be, up there. It was very, very good and probably a massive surprise to a lot of people. And I have banged on about this film for so long. You guys are probably sick of hearing about this, but this is Ready or Not. This has to be on my list. This is how you do strong female arcs. This was Samara Weaving in the starring role. She was great. She goes through such a great character arc. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it, because obviously, everything in this has been non-spoilers. But Samara Weaving was just staggering. I think this film managed to get an idea, a very simplistic idea, and just absolutely run with it. I mean, who'd have thought you could make a horror movie about hide and seek? Who'd have thought that? Absolutely fantastic. This film made on such a tiny budget. I think really, really just drives home how to do strong females and how also just to do an original horror idea. It was fantastic. You must watch this film. Out of any of the films that I would highly recommend as a must watch, if you could just pick one, it would be Ready or Not. And I don't think you'd be disappointed. It was very, very good. Very, very, very good. And last but not least, this is Midsommar. Now, I was reluctant to kind of put this on the list because I don't know whether it's one of my favourite films of this year or not. I'd have to really watch it again and digest it. But from just a cinematography aspect, I really did like this film. I like Ari Aster. I've had the opportunity to interview Ari Aster before. He's a really, really nice chap. Very unassuming for horror, that's for sure. But I really enjoyed this film. And I also didn't as well. This is what I mean. Like, there was multiple things which I kind of liked and disliked about this film. But I think it has to be on this list because, you know, it really did take some risks. And I think some of the risks paid off. And it was enjoyable on the whole. So, you know, for all of the movies that have been out there, this would have to be on there, I think. And I know it's probably not going to be on a lot of people's, but it definitely has to be on mine. So, yeah, I'd love to hear what you thought about this movie, though, and whether it made your top 10 list, or even if you watched it, because I know it didn't take too much money, so I know not a lot of people have seen it, but, you know, the guy directed Hereditary, so I did have to go and watch this film, because Hereditary was, for me, a great film. And there you go. That is my top 10 list of 2019. The best films of 2019, anyway. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts, so please do let me know down below in the comment section. We've still got some films to come out this year, but, you know, I'm filming this now because I probably won't get the opportunity to see too many of them before the new year rolls in. And then we're in 2020. I will probably, if this video is liked enough, and, you know, enough people want me to do it, I will probably do my top bad films of this year. I don't think there's 10 of them. I don't think I've seen too many horrendous films this year. I have seen a few, mind you, but I don't know if I've bothered to go out and watch 10. Normally I don't. If I know a film is going to be garbage, or if I suspect a film is going to be garbage, I don't tend to go and watch them, but there's definitely been a good few this year. So anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this down below in the comment section. If you are new here, please do hit subscribe, and please do let me know all of your top 10 lists down below. If I've missed anything, I would love to know, because I did go and kind of recap through some of my reviews. But yeah, I think this is my definitive 2019 list. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. I've been Mr. H. Take care.